calling you on the air. What's your name and where you calling from?
Zaiyahs House, Uptown.
Pollinator on a pollinator.
Zaiyahs House, Uptown.
Stop it, that's not hot.
Zaiyahs House, Uptown.
Oh, you think the wall is round, but it's flat.
Zaiyahs House, Uptown.
Before you get the horns.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Zaiyahs House. I'm your host, Zaiyah 007, and this handsome young man here is
Uptown.
We were talking earlier, before the show, about rules. You know how as young men, especially like I find this with people from the Caribbean and people from the South.
Okay.
I guess because I deal with more people from the Caribbean and more people from the South than anybody else. I'm sure other, I know for a fact that other nationalities do it, but I don't really deal with them that much, so I can only speak from my experience. And I know that Brother Uptown and myself do this also. We make rules as young men. We might make these rules coming up, you know, been in a situation with a young lady when you were 15, 16, and you're never going to do this again, or you got older and you wore something and people laughed at you and you're never going to wear that again. Or, you know, the rules we make for ourselves. I know you have a few rules.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of rules.
And my becoming 57 years old, I don't mind telling my age, totally transparent. There's a lot of things that I held steadfast to my chest. Like, this is my life rule, and this makes more sense than anything that you can say to refute it. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that some of these rules are total nonsense. So, Brother Uptown, as you're getting older, have you had any steadfast rules that now that you're getting older, you're like, I can loosen up on that one?
Well, that's one of the rules I had when I was younger. I didn't I had a baby picture that I didn't like. So I said to myself, I don't want to ever see a picture of me as a kid, a baby or whatever. You know, to this day, I don't want to date the day, but to this day right now, you can't find a person with a baby picture of me.
When you say baby, you mean how old?
When we 1 year old.
Oh, 1 year old. Damn, you're talking baby.
Baby picture, 1 or 2 years old. I don't think anybody has a picture of me. Not my mother, not family members. I destroyed most of all the baby pictures that I had. Because I didn't like maybe something in the picture I didn't like. And at that time, I just destroyed it. You could say very immature at the time. Maybe. You know, now as time go on, and I have kids of my own, and they ask me, oh, Dad, you got baby pictures? I'm like, ugh. Oh, wow.
A decision had to be made.
I have no baby pictures. I can't show them anything. I have pictures of them, you know, which I gave a lot of it back, you know, their pictures, because people wanted the picture. I was going to argue over pictures, but I kept some pictures. I gave a majority of pictures away. My kids' pictures, because they were just, I wasn't going to go have a fight over pictures. Yeah. But I got a few, and they asked me about mine. I don't have none. And so I said to myself, wow, you know what? That was one rule I might have I jumped the gun. You know, so that's the only thing I regret. Most of all my rules, I'm still steady on it. But before that, what rule did you have that you changed around on?
Oh, I mean, I had rules on a lot of things. Sheesh. Interracial relationships. I came up in the '60s.
Okay, so what?
So when I saw an interracial relationship, I had to like grill them, like I had to give them the eye and let them know how I felt about them being in a relationship and that. You know, should be mixing the blood of the colonizers. Yeah, I held that steadfast. You know, just this is the way it was. You know, and it's not even because the fact that my son is in an interracial marriage. It's the fact that I was in a situation where I was with somebody of another color and people thought we were together and we weren't.
Oh, okay, just out in
I was riding the bus down south.
Okay.
And somebody had my locks and all that stuff, and there was a white girl sitting in the chair in front of me. There was a bunch of people sitting in the back, and I didn't go sit in the back with those people, talking to her. Got off down south, Florida, and the way people were acting, it was just like, wow. this is what people go through. I just met this woman a half hour ago. You know, I mean, treated bad. You know, there was a sheriff out there looking at us like he wanted to shoot both of us, and I'm like, wow, this is how I made people feel.
Yeah, but you know something. You know, to this, I know you said that was years back, but to this day, I still see people still doing that to people, though. You know, well, not as much, I guess, depending on what part of the country you're at. You know, what part of where you're at, but people still do that. I still see a lot of people frown upon interracial dating, which I mean, I'm not gonna say I have no idea why. I can take a guess why. Because
we're programmed. There's a lot of things we're programmed for coming up. We're programmed for racism, we're programmed for sexism, we're programmed to hate anything that's not like us. We're programmed to hate one team over the other. We're programmed to take a gospel show, which should be something sacred, and pit one gospel group against the next one. Any artist, any type of art form there is, you always have a best and second best and a third best. We judge people. That's what we do in everything. We have the pretty baby contest. We have the, you know, it goes on. Who bakes the best cake? And we need to really get away from that crap. Chances of it happening? No. We have countries against countries, and it's just sickening the amount of stuff that people pile on that you have to pick a side. You have to pick a side. You know? And it's just like, if you're not for us and you're not for them, then you're against us if you're not for us. So we still got to keep it.
It's funny, you know, interesting you say that. I remember an artist named Kanye West. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he crazy." Nah. And I told your brother I never met the guy, but he says some things that you got to think. I remember a while ago he said at an award show. He said when he won an award, he said, "Wow, this is very interesting." He said, "I had to think about this." Award show is basically a place where you talk a bunch of people that is gifted in their craft to come together to tell them that they are losers.
Exactly. I saw that.
You see that, right?
I saw that.
Just think about that. You know, everybody's an artist, and artists meaning that you're just different. Artists is just a different person. They do things different. Musicians play different. It doesn't mean nobody's better than the other. They just have their own way of doing things. But you put them together, all these creative minds, and then say, "You're a loser."
Yeah.
And everybody just cheer, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Don't be so fucking greedy. How long were you expected to live anyhow?
The Deacons for Defense and Justice, commonly known as the Deacons, was a little-known civil rights African-American group which made its mark mainly here in Louisiana and in southern Mississippi cities from 1964 until the end of that tumultuous decade. The Deacons for Defense had its genesis in the lumber mill community of Jonesboro, Louisiana in 1964. I'm Ward Coolin, a graduate student at Louisiana State University, and I'm going to introduce you to some amazing men and let them tell you their stories.
Okay, right here, this building here is the old Masonic Lodge. It's where the Deacons started out, where we had our first meetings. We had meetings at several other places, but that was one of the major places we had meetings because of the fact we couldn't have meetings everywhere. We had at some of the churches, but that's basically where the Deacons got started here in this old building. And that was in the early '64. And the reason for us organizing the Deacons because we had a lot of people from up north was here to help us with our voters registration and to help us with a lot of other Jim Crow things that was going on during this time. And They didn't have any police protection because the police was trying to do everything they could against them because they didn't want them here. So we felt like if they come this far, risk their lives and their future to help us, we should do the same for them.
The primary goal for Louisiana's Deacons for Defense was to protect black sections of towns and civil rights activists, black and white, from those who did not want to see integration succeed and who did not hesitate to use violent acts to stop it. The Deacons armed themselves and made it clear that this sort of intimidation was going to stop one way or the other. And for the most part, the Klan backed down when confronted. If you have not heard of them, you aren't alone. The group is not discussed in high school history classes. It grew to include chapters in a dozen Louisiana and southern Mississippi cities. The Deacons acted only in defensive roles and only when provoked. In fact, only one white man was ever shot, and that was by accident. He also lived. The Deacons, whose overall membership probably never exceeded 200, was also very instrumental in marches, sit-ins, integration efforts, voter registration moves, and other key African-American movements during the civil rights. Although their visibility faded by 1970, about a dozen of these men still live in Louisiana and keep in contact with one another.
Deacons of Defense, if you read this Lance Hill's book called Deacons for Defense, he spells out when the Deacons were formed. They were formed one night in Jonesboro. Mike Less and I had gone out on the highway, and from Jonesboro to Monroe. And we got on the highway. 3 carloads of whites began to trail us. And telling Mike, well, we know about the 3 boys in Mississippi. We're just not going to die out here between these 2 swarms. And that was the night we played chicken with the Ku Klux Klan.
The Deacons of Defense it wasn't that we were advocating violence, but we were a self-protection organization that defended our community. We weren't going to put up with the nonsense of the Ku Klux Klan and other races who wanted to, in other places they burned, murdered, and lynched, and we weren't going to tolerate it.
The Deacons were basically, just as I explained to you before, the ones that would take these weapons and defend the citizens, and that's what we did for ourselves as well as for others. We would take it on ourselves to arm ourselves and to make sure that we were given proper protection because homes were being bombed and burned, and nothing has been done about it.
I was more of a self-defense and protecting our community and voting, registering people to vote, and trying to make the system that we live in better.
Well, I would think the hardened part of the Deacons was like anybody else. I'd say that enough is enough. They are men with families, children, families as such, and they are men. They're not shirt tails, as they say. They're not Uncle Toms. They are men. They would do whatever it takes.
A lot of them were World War II and Korean War veterans. They loved their country. They wanted to enjoy it, and they wanted their children and their grandchildren to be able to enjoy it. With a lot of them that went over to Europe and Korea and fought for, and that was the freedom of their community.
We found a purpose greater than ourselves. And that's when you get caught up in something. Get caught up in the wind. And you're guided by a force you cannot see. And once in it, the question is, when can we stop? When should we stop? You know, and the answer to that was when victory is won. So it was either continuing until victory, and in many cases until death.
During the weekend, the young whites would come in the community and they would be drinking, and when they finished drinking, they used to come through the neighborhood and, you know, yell the N-word and do different things in the community. And so on the weekends, we basically had a 1960 Infada. You know, we had our bricks and rocks when they would come through. You know, with that nonsense, you know, we were actually, we was rocking, you know, we were hitting them, throwing rocks and bricks, you know, trying to retaliate to them for the things that they were doing. If they caught you walking along in our community, or walking outside of the community, a lot of times they would attack you.
Well, I think one in particular was the bombings. That's when everybody was up in arms, as we'd say. Well, not really up in arms, but that's when they were maddest, okay? That's when everybody was really ready to take them on, you know?
When you
and
say
of course,
bombings, what do you mean?
the bombing of houses, of homes, you know? I mean, these people actually go around throwing Molotov cocktails into your windows, into your porches, or wherever they can get close enough to throw it, to burn your house and to burn whoever's in there. They didn't care. So that's when the deacons or the protective forces would take their most stand is at that point, because everything was hottest at that point.
5,000 students of Southern started marching down on December 21st, 1961. And that demonstration was broken up with tear gas and fire hoses and dogs. And 21 of us went to jail. I was one of the 21 in jail with Dave Dennis, Weldon Rougeau, the Army Bailey. We spent the Christmas in jail, the Christmas of '61, in jail in Baton Rouge. And then the president of Southern, Felton G. Clark, was ordered by the Board of Education to expel us from school. So we were expelled from the university.
When we pulled up, I was in the car with Sam Barnes and Charles Sam. We were only three that went up there at first. And Charles Sam asked me to lay my pistol down and go in there and get them and walk out with them. Now, Charles Sam was if you heard him speak, he was very convincing in his speech. And, but my trust and confidence that Sam Barnes wouldn't leave me. You know, I had that kind of confidence no matter what the odds were. And Sam Barnes told me, see, you can leave your gun and go in there, because I knew he had his. And he was going to back me up, whatever. When I walked in the door, before I got inside, I could hear them laughing because they felt like they had him cornered, you know. And when I walked in that door, all of the laughter stopped and it got as quiet. You could hear the pin drop. And one of the claimants said, here come them damn deacons. And Fletcher Anderson and Lake Griffin got up and walked out. You know. And that's the time I really remember most. But Sam was a very bold and brave individual. We had history where you had a march that was longer than Selma to Montgomery from Bogalusa to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and very hostile territory. And but you don't hear that much about it. Charles Sims was the president of the Deacons, and he was the voice of the Deacons. But you know, when you start talking about the boldness of a deacon that didn't have any fear, you was Sam Barnes, Rowan Burris, you know, the Bertrand Wise. You had a lot of the older guys that they didn't have any fear. I started out as a protester. I was a street soldier, I guess you would say, in the Deacons Defense and Justice. I was one of the younger members.
And how old were you at this time?
In 1964, I hadn't made 17 yet. I was 16.
I was one of the persons who felt that it was unfair practice, and that unless we stood up and showed that we did not agree with it, and that we would go whatever extent it takes to stop it, and that's what we did.
You know, they kept it under wraps because I was underage, but I was an armed deacon. I did mobile patrols with them and patrolling the neighborhood. I also pulled guard at various homes of civil rights leaders and homes where people in our community were housing the civil rights workers that came to Bogalusa.
Well, I think the Deacons, for instance, serve their purpose, and right now, the Supreme Court and the courts of the land are listening. So now you don't need them. See, this was sort of a way that you could feel safe as can be, because you knew then that after you've tried everything you can try, you still had another leverage, another means of protecting yourself somewhat. But now you don't need that, because if something should happen, you got the media, you got you guys, you got people that's going to talk. Back then, you wouldn't say nothing, because you wouldn't be allowed to. They would kill you too.
But the number of deacons, you know, that was secret. That was, you know, you might look for us in one spot and we'll pop up somewhere else. You know, wherever it was a hot spot, the deacons had a habit of showing up. You know, and that's where we were effective at.
Well, I think now the deacons are basically the youths. I mean, the young folks now are not going to take what these old folk took back then, and they know that. So they know you come, you better come right, so because they out there, they ain't gonna take it now. But back then, the people were afraid. I mean, they really were. I mean, and they had every right to be, because they had been mistreated so long, so bad, until they felt that there was no other recourse. They had to take it. But now, the young people knowing that, you know, you bleed like me, you know, so don't try it.
You still have some of the ones in my group, my age group, and some of them are older still now, but they got a younger group that, you know, they listen to what we've told them, and they already have their ideas, and they're willing to lay down and defend their community. And so, you know, we're not, I'll say, the mass. We're just laying semi-dominant. If the need arises, they are there. You know?
The hardened kernel of a deacon is somebody that will stand up. Stand up. I mean, go to court, go to appeals, go to whatever means that the law provides to get a point across. And once you have been given a decision of the land, then you got to live by it.
Well, you know, some of them were known. Some didn't try to have it. Like, you know, you had your president, he was a spokesman, Charles Sams. You know, he was a spokesman, so his face was out there. And I never tried to have it. You know, you had some that they were low key, but you know, the authorities and the Klan, they knew who some of them were, like Rowan Burris or others. You know, people like Rowan, they didn't have, you know, Fletcher Anderson. You know, they didn't have that they were Klan. You know, Sam Barnes, we call him the Klan, another Klan.
I felt that I was doing what was right, and I didn't do anybody any harm. I did not, and I still don't hold any animosity or any grudge against any of those white folks. I don't know any of them that I hate for what they did. I do believe that they did what they did because they thought they were doing the right thing.
It's not up to us anymore. It's up to each generation to see what needs to happen and step up to the plate. You cannot, this generation cannot parade on Martin Luther King's Day and think that they're doing something.
We got a lot of different archives. I know that University of California, Berkeley has a lot of information on it, and they have a museum, I think, it's got a lot of archives in Harlem, in New York. And Johnson's publications should have a lot. But I would ask a lot of our young students to, you know, do research and look it up and let the story be told, because the Deacons for Defense movie that Forrest Whitaker now did, it was not always was factual, but there was a lot of fiction in it also.
Young Afro-American men, I think today, need to read our book of Deacons for Defense, and they will get a lot out of reading it because it goes back to where all this started, and it would show them where we came from and where we are now. And somewhere down the road they would have lost a little ground, but still, if they would read it and consider trying to help to do something about it, we could come back and really do a lot more in this respect. But the book is one of the most important things. They need to read it. And, well, the movie, which it's okay, but I think you need to read the book. There's nobody to really talk to about it because it's not that many of us left to talk to. But the main thing is get the book and read it. And when you read it, so you need to read something more than one time to really understand it, you need to read it about 3 times. We make sure that you understand it and know what we went through and how much hell we went through at that time trying to get to where we are now.
Okay, we back, and we still black. What are we going to now, young man?
We're going to go to gun laws. You know, since we had a lot of, you know, recently been a lot of shootings, mass shootings. You know, you have the shooting that happened in Florida, Vegas, you know, and other schools, Chicago. And, you know, everybody's in arms about, you know, about the guns. Everybody has their different views on, you know, when it comes to the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. You got the NRA got what they're, you know, what they're proposing, and they should be able to, you know, keep the guns. A lot of people say guns should be off the streets. Mm-hmm. So, what can be done, Zaiyah, to stop something like Vegas and Florida and other schools? Because they ain't just dumb schools. I mean, people, you know, kids bring guns into school. Mm-hmm. And the shooters in Chicago and out in New York and Missouri and things like that. Should guns be eliminated? So people be stripped of their Second Amendment, or maybe should the amendment be revised.
Well, guns they're not gonna be eliminated. That's not gonna happen because as long as there's fear out there, as long as white people fear black people, or white people fear anybody, there's gonna be guns out there because they're armed to the teeth. This is not to protect anybody except for, you know, those people, militias and those far right extreme people who want those type of weapons, you know, assault rifles, so they can kill as many people as possible if something goes down. They feel like this is their country. You seen when that thing happened down in down south when they were taking down them statues and all those people came out with those torches, and then they disappeared into the night. Had them all on film. They could have easily looked on film and said, "That's John Bob, and he works for such and such.
Yes, of course.
This guy works at Xerox. That guy works at the executive at Walmart." And they could have all lost their jobs, but notice they didn't identify anybody in the crowd. You know, so as long as those people feel like they need to defend their country, then they're gonna have those type of weapons. The only way that it's gonna stop, or the only way that they're going to change the laws in any way, is exactly what's happened now. They shoot little white kids, and little white kids are speaking out. White kids don't vote, but white kids have parents, uncles, aunts, and some of them are politicians and judges and lawyers, and it's like, well, what are you going to do, uncle so-and-so, or aunt so-and-so, or dad or mom? So that's the reason why Trump sat down with him and said that nonsense he said. And somebody should have stood up and said, "Yo, you're full of it, and in a couple of days you're going to back down from this," which he obviously did anyway. Yeah,
because they just had a town hall meeting when they
I even went and sat down with him for what? Yeah. I'm not listening to you. You know, this for him, that's propaganda. He gets a chance to grandstand, and that's just what he did. But like the kid said, he said, "I know y'all think that y'all not going to do anything about this, but y'all are, because we're going to live longer than you are." Basically, that's it. This next generation is the ones that's in those classrooms while people are getting shot.
Right.
You know? These old cats, that woman that's the head person of the NRA, and the Trumps and the Pences and all of these old white guys, they thinking in a whole nother era. You know, they thinking of, and this is the reason why I don't vote, and I get sick and tired of people telling me, "Oh, you don't vote, you can't complain," and all that foolishness. Okay, you voted. You ran out and voted for Obama twice. All of y'all ran out there. Obama, 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 Obama. What did he do for us? Nothing. Okay, now, Trump came in, but how did he get in there? Because you same people who ran out there and said, "Obama, Obama, Obama," y'all didn't vote.
Well, technically, Hillary Clinton had more popular votes than Donald Trump. But it
didn't
mean nothing because the popular vote don't pick you anyway.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying is, if they would have got more votes, she would have won.
Yeah, you mean electoral votes?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So enough people didn't vote. They didn't vote. You know, they was like, it's like jury duty. You know, I'm not going. Not unless it's some way I can make a difference. And most people get in front of the judge and say, "What? I can't be a part of this trial because if it's a cop against a black person, I'm automatically going to pick, you know,
either
the black person, because I think all cops are evil." That's what they tell the judge, and the judge says, "Go away." Now the white person who goes in there, they don't say, "I feel this way about all black people." No, they're going to say, "Oh no, I think that such and such and such," and then when they get to the trial, guilty.
We're going to go into a quick break. We'll be back in a hot second.
See you when we see.
This all stressed out of me. I can't raise my hands and weep. You're the girl who's
Yeah, you gotta go home. You gotta go home.
Okay.
Okay, we back, and we still black. Where we going to now, young man?
ZSAs.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, ZSAs are Zaiyahs House service announcements, not to be confused with public service announcements. It's a part of the show myself and brother Uptown talk about topics that we're passionate about. But it's not official until you hear the ZSA song, and if you know the words, matter of fact, the words is going to be on the screen. Sing along.
It's ZSA time with Uptown and Zaiyah. It's ZSA time, we're gonna take you a little higher.
And on that note, brother Uptown's going to give his ZSA.
My ZSA for the week is mind your business.
Whatever do you mean, young man?
We live in a society where a bunch of people are snitching. And listen, I'm not saying, oh, you know, don't tell them whatever the criminal. I'm not saying that. Snitching in a way where you need to mind your business. For instance, when people are arguing in the street, stop recording them. Mind your business. I'm walking out in the community, minding my business. I see a couple, really having a little argument. Nothing physical, just verbal. Two people behind me stopped and took out their phone. And I don't look back, I'm like, you mind your business. Like, what? And then once I said it, a couple seen it. And then now they stopped arguing, and then they started cursing them out. I just kept it walking. I kept it moving. Why? Because I was minding my business. People, mind your business. What gives you the right to think you can record somebody you don't even know? Mind your business. Also, people, I'm tired of people with, lady had an outfit on, and, you know, little shabby, you know, little disheveled. Somebody pulled out their phone and started recording. Like, yo, you see what she got on? I looked at them like, yo, mind your business. Once again, stop recording people what they got on. If you're not wearing it, don't worry about it. What are you trying to do? Who are you showing this to? Mind your business. Okay. Also, lady was had a son was doing something, little kid. I guess she started spanking him. And of course, another lady that don't look like her spoke up and said, "Ma'am, you shouldn't hit that boy like that." Whoa. That sister turned around and started cursing this lady out. I thought about, you know, getting between them, but you know what I did? I mind my business. I kept it going. That lady had whatever she had coming to her. Listen, do not get between a parent spanking their kid. I'm not saying she was beating her with a belt, but mind your business. You know, and last but not least, if you see your friend out and about, the wife, the husband, the spouse with somebody else, and then maybe they shouldn't be with them, mind your business. And that's my CSA for me and you.
Well, thank you very much, young man. That was very informative as always. That scenario with the camera, that goes to sex. You know,
Yes.
you're at the club with your people and the young lady decide they want to go in the bathroom stall. Hey, it's not the best place to go. They both had a couple of drinks.
It's the safest place to go.
It's a mutual agreement.
Yes.
Who are you to go in the next store over, stand on top of the toilet, and start filming them?
Yes. Mind your business.
Who? And post it.
Oh, this is the snitching part.
And post it.
Yes.
A family member, they in the bathroom and their friend is in the toilet. They like pushing the door open, laughing, and they post it.
Yes.
I don't get it where it's somebody else's embarrassment. You use it for other people's entertainment so that you will get notoriety.
Right. I see that a lot with people's weddings. You know, a lot of people want to post their weddings on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff. But then, okay, that's a beautiful thing. You see people, you know, singing songs and family together. Beautiful. But then now I see a bunch of these videos where the bride fell or the groom fell. This one fell and hurt themselves and he did this. This one flipped and kicked her in the head. Somebody recorded it.
Somebody stood on the table and fell off.
Yes.
Caught on fire or something.
And the party guests, the guests, recorded and posted to embarrass that person at the wedding. They invited you to the wedding. So-and-so, please come to my wedding. I want you to come and celebrate this moment with me. And you take an opportunity to say, aha, look at that, embarrassed them.
And I've been to weddings where they say, no cameras. Don't
Right.
take any pictures. I'm paying this person a ton of money to take pictures, and those are the only pictures I want taken.
Right. And they've always have like, now they have like a disc, they put them, they can give it to family later.
But no, you got these people out here with these cameras. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What? Thank you for that CSA.
Yes. Like I said, mind your business, man.
Okay, my CSA is on, as always, I'm on the N-word crusade, people. If I could get 1 or 2 people to stop saying the N-word, I don't think I've gotten anybody to stop saying the N-word yet in all of this time. I mean, I used to try to get people to work out. Got people to work out. Back in the day when I used to take all kind of illicit drugs, I got plenty of people taking illicit drugs.
Back in the days.
Yeah, but now I'm trying to get people to stop saying the N-word, and it's just like asking them to sacrifice their firstborn. I mean, and I'm not even talking about kids. The kids, you say something to them, and they're like, oh, because they don't expect it. They think you as OG. When they say it, you're going to go along with it. So when you like, yo, it's 9 o'clock, man, and you done said N-word like 15 times, come on. A break. Oh, you got that. Say that to somebody 35, 40 years old. They will try to give you a history lesson on the N-word and how it's evolved and some other foolishness. And I used to say that they were zombies, but it goes beyond that. It's look at other nationalities of the world. I can't think of another nationality that has adopted a racial slur.
No, I don't.
And will fight you tooth and nail so they can say it.
Literally fight.
And if somebody else says it, they have a problem with it. Where I'm standing there with you, 2 white people, we're having a conversation, blah, 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 blah. And you get a little passionate, not you, but the other black person there gets a little passionate about the conversation, and they say, here it comes. Oh, I hate all them N-words and them B's because such. And you can see everybody tense up a little. It's almost like being at work where they say that you're causing a hostile work environment. Like you know, you can't say certain things because your words make people feel uncomfortable and feel a certain way. Well, when you say that word, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel a certain way, especially when you say it around other nationalities. Because I want to say something to you, but I know that you're going to say something back to me, and it's going to cause a bigger embarrassment because now these people are wondering why you're fighting to keep saying a derogatory word. Right. And how you've co-opted it, and it's your word now.
It's your word.
It's 2017, and I'm trying to convince black people.
18.
Oh my God, excuse me. 2018, and I'm trying to convince black people to stop using the N-word in front of kids, to kids, at kids, for kids. And when kids say it, they giggle and think it's funny. People, we can already start this N-word pledge thing. Y'all are willing to take Tide, what's the...
Yeah, Tide,
detergent, pods. Y'all are willing to take Tide detergent pods. Y'all are willing to eat tablespoons of cinnamon.
Yes.
You want to pour buckets of water on your head.
Yes,
now they got the no smile or the no laughing game where this kid just shot the kid in the head. The game is you pull out a gun and you put it to somebody's head. And they're not supposed to smile. And the kid shot his friend in the head playing that game. Y'all got all of these games that y'all want to do. What is there any more?
I'm sure there's a few out there.
What you want to do when somebody wants you to try to do something, not for me, for us, for the next generation. Because you have to understand, when rap first started, it was like poetry. Broken glass everywhere. They pissing on the stairs because they don't care. We talking about the crimes in the street, what have you. Then it was about crews battling crews. My crew's better than yours, and such, Roxanne Shante, blah, 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 blah. Started talking about the streets a little, such. But then there was always that positive self-destruction, that black element, you know, Zulus, you know, the people wearing the leather medallions with the, you know, the 5%ers, and everybody was rapping about cultural upliftment. And then the poison came, because you know they don't want us to unify. They don't want us to unify. They want us to go at each other and call each other the N-word. So then the songs started coming out, the Jay-Z's and these guys, and NWAs and all of these guys. But see, NWA, I give them a pass because NWA was more like a Dave Chappelle type thing. Dave Chappelle used the word, but he uses it in a context to try to make a point. Whereas Eddie Griffith or Cat Williams, just every other word out their mouth is the word. And you know, so there's differences. Every word has a place. Every word, that word, the other meaning, the ER, the A, they all have a place if you use it in context. But what people have a term, a thing of doing is they'll walk up to somebody on the street that they just met and they'll address them as that in conversation or use the word in conversation, whereas you may not be aware that some people are sensitive to that word. I'm very sensitive to that word because I grew up in the 60s and we used to fight people for calling us that word. The little Italian boys and little Irish kids and stuff, we used to go through it. The cops and everybody. Okay, so we got to a point where we stopped them from saying it, and then they use it in song, like Jay-Z's, and it becomes almost like when you put it in the song, it seems innocent, you know? So you're singing the song, but it's getting imprinted in your brain. And I always say, anything that the government allows is not good for you. Think about it. Church, not necessarily good for you. That's why the government lets it go. You know what I'm saying? Cigarettes, not good for you. Liquor, not good for you. And the list goes on and on. There's a lot of things that are not good for you that the government will give a pass on. You know, if it's good for you, they're not going to go along with it. Just think of it. Numbers back in the day, they didn't like them. Why? Because they weren't getting a cut. Well, they invented the lotto and the lottery and all of that. Yes. Now it's good. You know what I'm saying? Take anything. You alcohol. Take alcohol. Back in the day, it's a bad thing. They doing it, it's a good thing. Medicine's the same thing. Medicine ain't nothing but drugs. Now that they're in the drug business is good. Now they get ready to get in the weed business. Some places they in the weed business. You know, hey, brothers is in jail for selling weed. Now you got these executives invested millions of dollars on weed farms. They're growing it indoors. They got security. And no banks take their money. I don't know if people know that yet. Banks don't take their money. They're scared to take their money. Of course, the laws have not been set up for them to take their money. So they got armed guards that's taking their money to disclose those pays and locking it up. So these people are banking, taking money. You know what I'm saying? People. Y'all need to wake up. We're going to do this pledge. It's going to be the no N-word pledge. We haven't worked out all of the angles yet. Whether it's going to be like a pledge you can sign online, whether it's going to be something long drawn out, or just little people come up on the screen and, you know, taking the pledge not to say the N-word. You ain't got to pour a bucket of water on your head. No. You have to eat a pod or some cinnamon or something that's going to kill you. This ain't going to kill you. If anything, this will make you better and make the next generation better. So people. I know some of you still going to say it. But some of you can give a damn about what I'm saying. I understand that. Some of you are lost.
Right. Some people call you the N-word right now.
Some people call me the N-word right now. Yes. Y'all are lost. I give a damn about you. But all you people that understand what I'm saying, It's about nation building. Remember Malcolm talked about nation building? You know, Ben Okenin, nation building, folks. So that's my ZSA for media.
Very good, Zaiyah. Very informative as always.
Hey, thank you, sir.
On that note,
okay, so on that note, I'm going to say, will you do to you and yours in peace?
yeah.
Do you like it?